The apparent emptiness of your days hides a divine engineering of surgical precision, and the sentinels are sending you today an alert of spiritual discernment. What you interpret as abandonment is in reality a sacred quarantine for your protection. We warn you that silence is never synonymous with inaction, but a sign that work has left the plane of the visible to attack the very roots of your existence. We warn you. To be impatient with the silence of the sky is to ignore that the greatest cathedrals require foundations that the eye never sees. We inform you that this creator's latency is the moment when your enemies lose track of you because you are wrapped in a cloak of providential discretion. The sentinels are shouting at you that this flat calm is the engine of an acceleration that is being prepared in secret, a necessary gestation before your name is pronounced where the decisions are made. This underground preparation phase is proof that your file is being treated with particular attention. The angels show you that noise is often the sign of human agitation, while silence is the signature of the sovereign power that no longer needs to justify itself. We alert you to the fact that we have tried to make you believe that you have been forgotten, while every detail of your environment is being recalibrated so as not to give in under the weight of your future blessing. The sentinels are shouting at you that you are in the waiting room for miracles, a space where your endurance is tested to see if you can handle the brilliance without losing your center. We urge you not to waste your tears anymore in panic prayers, because the silence you are going through is the seal of a covenant that does not require words. You have understood that the lack of an immediate response is sometimes the most protective response you can receive. The challenge of this inhabited expectation is the maturation of your organic faith. We inform you that the universe is working for you with an intensity that your senses cannot yet capture. The sentinels alert you to the nobility of your expectation. The one who knows how to remain serene in the silence of God is the one who already possesses the key to his own deliverance. We ask you to no longer measure your progress by the immediate results, but by the quality of the peace that is beginning to settle in you despite the uncertainty. The game is over because you have stopped looking for external signs to focus on the inner presence. Your destiny is taking root in a land that no one can trample, and this calm that you feel is the signal that the structure of your success is now unshakable. The apparent loss of your support is actually a spiritual demoning operation, and the sentinels are sending you today a radical lucidity alert. What you call a failure or rejection is only the forced evacuation of toxic elements that would have ended up choking you. We warn you that every opportunity that slips through your fingers is a trap that you have narrowly avoided without even realizing it. We warn you, contracts that fall through, allies who move away, and aborted projects are the instruments of a necessary pruning so that your energy is no longer wasted in dead ends. We inform you that this invisible cleaning is a sign that your future can no longer come to terms with your mediocre past. The sentinels are shouting at you that this hand that seems to be taking things away from you is the same one that is sweeping the ground so that you can run without tripping over the debris of your former complacences. This phase of purification by the vacuum is the guarantee of your future safety. The angels show you that if some doors remain closed despite your assaults, it is because behind them were storms that you were not yet ready to face. We are alerting you to the fact that we have tried to make you regret departures that were nevertheless releases. The sentinels cry out to you that your bitterness is blindness. You cry over the loss of a cage while the universe offers you the immensity of heaven. We encourage you to look at these ruptures with the gratitude of one who knows that he was spared. You have understood that divine silence often manifests itself in a beneficial subtraction. What is good is taken away from you to force you to receive what is exceptional. The challenge of this forced reorganization is the preservation of your integrity. We inform you that the universe has an overall vision that your limited gaze cannot yet embrace. The sentinels alert you to the nobility of your detachment. Letting go of what does not want to stay is your greatest act of faith. We ask you to stop trying to hold back the shadows that flee before the approaching dawn. The game is over because you have stopped fighting against the current of providence to finally let yourself be carried to more fertile shores. Your environment clears up, the parasites evaporate, and this new clarity that sets in is a sign that the place is finally free for the essentials. The isolation you are experiencing is actually a high-precision sanctuary, and the Sentinels are sending you an inner fortification alert today. This feeling of being set aside from the social tumult is proof that your soul has entered a quenching phase. We warn you that the withdrawal from the world is not a disappearance, but a concentration of your vital energy away from the distractions that dilute your genius. We warn you, the external noises have been cut off so that you can finally hear the subtle frequencies of your own destiny. We inform you that this forge of solitude is the place where the Creator hammers your weaknesses, straightens your doubts, and polishes your will until it becomes an indestructible steel. The Sentinels cry out to you that if you have been made invisible to your fellow human beings for a while, it is to ensure that you will never again be dependent on their validation to exist. This silent hardening phase is the guarantee of your future stability. The angels show you that the one who shines too quickly without having been forged in the shadows ends up breaking at the first storm. We alert you to the fact that solitude is the price of the exceptional. We do not prepare a sovereign in the middle of the crowd. We prepare it in the secret of the mountain. The Sentinels are shouting at you that your impatience is your only current enemy. You would already like to be on stage while the foundations of your character are still hardening. We encourage you to cherish these moments of apparent emptiness, because this is where the invisible muscles are built that will allow you to carry the massive responsibilities that await you. You have understood that the silence of your entourage is the signal that heaven has taken control of your formation, discarding human voices to leave room only for the essential. The challenge of this voluntary exile is the acquisition of a natural authority. We inform you that the universe will only let you out of this forge when you have become a version of yourself that nothing can shake. The Sentinels alert you to the nobility of your silence. Talking less to become more is the hallmark of empire builders. We ask you no longer to try to break this isolation by force, but to inhabit it fully until the transformation is complete. The game is over because you stopped begging for company to start cultivating your own presence. Your identity solidifies, your gaze brightens, and this sovereign peace that begins to inhabit you in the middle of emptiness is proof that you are now ready to face any shine without ever wavering. The orchestration of your triumph is being played out on a chessboard that your eyes cannot yet embrace, and the Sentinels are sending you a masterful convergence alert today. What you perceive as an endless wait is actually the time necessary for all the actors of your success to be in position. You are warned that the Creator is moving mountains, changing administrative decisions, and influencing distant hearts so that, when the day comes, your path will be free of any obstacles. We warn you, forcing a door that has not yet been unlocked would only break your own momentum, while patience allows the lock to open by itself. We inform you that this synchronization of the clocks is proof that your life is not the result of chance, but of a score written with absolute rigor. The Sentinels are shouting at you that your apparent delay is actually a protection against an early departure that would have led you straight into the wall. This phase of cosmic adjustment is a sign that your project goes beyond your simple will. The angels show you that the universe is not only preparing an opportunity for you, it is also preparing a place for you in the hearts of those who will welcome you. We alert you to the fact that unlikely connections are being forged in the secret behind the scenes. A person you have not yet met receives the impulse to look for you. Funding that you thought was lost is redirected to your file, and a law that blocked you is about to be amended. The Sentinels are shouting at you that your impatience is an insult to this precision watchmaking company that works for you 24 hours a day. We encourage you to trust the deadlines, because every second of silence is a second of adjustment, so that the impact of your breakthrough is total and definitive. The challenge of this alignment is the fluidity of your future ascent. We inform you that when all the clocks finally strike in unison, you will no longer have to make an effort to convince or to conquer. Things will be done with an ease that will leave you speechless. The Sentinels alert you to the nobility of your expectation. The one who accepts the rhythm of providence is the one who inherits the earth without having to plunder it. We ask you to remain calm and attentive, because the signal of departure will not be a cry, but a whisper of evidences that follow one another. The game is over because you have understood that you are not the engine of the world, but the pilot of a vehicle whose creator ensures maintenance and fuel. Your trajectory is secure. The lights turn green one after the other in the invisible, and this certainty that is growing in you is the imminent announcement of an unprecedented deployment. The most precise compass of your existence is not found in books, but in the silence of your sudden certainties, and the Sentinels are sending you an internal navigation alert today. This fleeting thought that tells you not to sign this contract, or this inexplicable impulse that pushes you to change direction, is the armed arm of God in your mind. We warn you that the Creator does not always descend in a thunderclap to warn you of danger. He often prefers the whisper of an intuition that, if listened to, saves you decades of useless struggle. We warn you, ignoring this feeling in favor of the cold logic of men is the shortest path to regret. We inform you that this whisper of intuition is an encrypted communication that your opponents cannot intercept, a stealth guidance that allows you to bypass the reefs even before they appear on your radar. The Sentinels are shouting at you that your ability to trust this tenuous signal is what will make you an outstanding strategist in a world of blind people who are banging on walls. This phase of active listening is the secret of your future speed. The angels show you that the one who follows his intuition does not need to run, because he always takes the shortcuts that Providence has drawn for him. You are being alerted to the fact that society has tried to format your brain so that you despise your forebodings, calling them illogical, when they are the highest form of logic there is, that of omniscience. The Sentinels are shouting at you that your inner discomfort with certain brilliant people is vital information that you should not stifle under politeness. We encourage you to cultivate that inner silence where God's voice becomes audible, that frequency where complex decisions suddenly become childishly simple. You have understood that human intelligence analyzes the past, but that your intuition, it already sees the pitfalls of your future. The challenge of this invisible guidance is the sovereignty of your choices. We inform you that the more you validate these little voices, the louder, clearer, and more regular they become. The Sentinels alert you to the nobility of your obedience to the invisible. This is where your true protection lies against manipulators and false promises. We ask you not to look for external validation anymore when your heart has already given its verdict. The game is over because you have realized that you are never alone when faced with a dilemma. You are assisted by an occult advisor who knows the end of the story before it even begins. Your trajectory becomes surgical, your mistakes become rarer, and this quiet confidence that you display in front of the unknown is a sign that you have finally learned to walk hand in hand with the invisible. The sudden disinterest you feel in your old ambitions is not a loss of motivation, and the Sentinels are sending you a spiritual update alert today. The Creator is rewriting the code of your desires to align them with a glory that you didn't even dare to imagine. We warn you that what you once considered the pinnacle of success now seems bland, childish, even ridiculous. We warn you, this detachment is not a depression. It is the aspiration of a soul that has finished playing in the sandbox and is now crying out for the ocean. We inform you that this mutation of your desires is a sign that Providence has much bigger plans for you than those that you had tinkered with your fears of lack. The Sentinels shout to you that if you are no longer hungry for what once made the crowd run, it is because your palace is being educated to feasts of sovereignty that few people can only conceive. This phase of reconfiguring your appetites is the prelude to an abundance of another kind. The angels show you that you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. Your old desires were too narrow to contain the power that is coming. We alert you to the fact that we tried to worry you by seeing you change, by telling you that you were losing your fire, when you are simply going from an emotional straw fire to a furnace of unshakable conviction. The Sentinels cry out to you that your current indifference to ephemeral honors is your greatest strength. Whoever no longer desires the crumbs of the world becomes impossible to buy or manipulate. We encourage you to let your old dreams die without nostalgia, because they were the necessary guardians for your growth, but they now hinder your flight. The challenge of this transformation is the perfect match between your being and your mission. We inform you that the universe will not give you what you want on a whim, but what you need to fulfill your destiny. The sentinels alert you to the nobility of your new disdain for the tinsel. It is a sign that you have finally understood that true wealth is not possessed, it is incarnated. We ask you to trust this inner emptiness that is being created, because it is the sacred space that God is reserving for tailor-made blessings. The game is over because you have stopped chasing mirages to become the well of living water that others will come looking for. Your will merges into the higher will, and this tranquility that replaces your former anxieties of success is proof that you are now wired for the extraordinary. The mountains that seemed impassable on your way are turning to dust under the effect of a wind that you cannot feel, and the sentinels are sending you today an alert of victory without a fight. The Creator has decided that your time of struggle against the impossible is over. We warn you that the fierce resistance, administrative refusals, or enmities that have blocked you for years suddenly lose their substance for no apparent reason. We warn you, to fight hard against an obstacle while providence is eroding it from the bottom up would be a waste of your vital energy. We inform you that this erosion of obstacles is a sign that you have finished paying your debt of patience and that the universe has begun to smooth out the paths in front of your steps. The sentinels cry out to you that your surrender was not an abandonment, but the signal given to heaven to take over from your tired arms and clear the road with the power of a river and flood. This phase of liberation by time is proof that your perseverance has borne fruit in the invisible. The angels show you that the one who knows how to wait without losing his faith sees the most complex locks disintegrate from the inside. We alert you to the fact that we tried to make you believe that you were stuck in these quicksand for life, when every day of your silence was a day of undermining the foundations of your problems. The sentinels cry out to you that your lack of reaction in the face of adversity has finally exhausted the source of your torments. Evil cannot survive for long where it no longer finds resistance to feed itself. We encourage you to walk henceforth with the assurance of one who knows that the seas open at the precise moment when his feet touch the water. You have understood that true authority does not consist in breaking down walls, but in waiting for them to evaporate in front of your quiet determination. The challenge of this dissolution is the absolute fluidity of your march to the top. We inform you that the universe is in the process of removing the thorns from your path, so that your final race will be unhindered and injury-free. The sentinels alert you to the nobility of your calm. Staying up while everything is falling apart around your enemies is your most beautiful trophy. We ask you not to look back to those giants who made you tremble, because they are no more than fleeing shadows in the rearview mirror of your destiny. The game is over because you have realized that God's strength begins where yours ends. Your road is clear. The locks have jumped in a cathedral silence, and this lightness that carries you today is a sign that nothing can stand in the way of your movement anymore. The masterpiece of your existence is taking shape in the most discreet nuances of your days, and the sentinels are sending you today a sacred vigilance alert. What you call chance is only the anonymity of a hand that deposits clues on your path. We warn you that a phone number found by mistake, a chance encounter in a queue, or a 10-minute delay are not disturbances, but the workings of precision mechanics. We warn you to neglect these small signs in favor of an expectation of spectacular brilliance is to miss the favorite language of providence. We inform you that this providence of details is proof that nothing is too small to be used in the plan of your expansion. The sentinels cry out to you that your life is a complex tapestry where each thread of coincidence is tied with an intention that goes beyond your immediate understanding, transforming the ordinary into a red carpet towards your destiny. This phase of invisible connection is the mark of unfailing support from the universe. The angels show you that the miracle is not always an explosion of light, but often a logical sequence of small evidences that fit together with a suspicious fluidity. We alert you to the fact that we tried to make you believe in chaos, when every unforeseen event was actually an appointment set by your future. The sentinels cry out to you that your ability to marvel at these synchronicities is the fuel for their multiplication. The more you recognize God's hand in the crumbs of your daily life, the more He prepares for you banquets of clarity. We encourage you not to despise anything anymore. because the message you are waiting for may be hidden in an open book on the wrong page or in the gaze of a stranger. You have understood that the invisible does not make mistakes and that its punctuality is absolute, even when it seems to play with your own clocks. The challenge of this attention to whispers is the end of your feeling of abandonment. We inform you that you are surrounded by a divine team that never sleeps, watching over your interests through details that you could have forgotten. The sentinels alert you to the nobility of your gaze. The one who can read between the lines of appearances will never feel alone in front of the world again. We ask you to walk with this curiosity of a child who is looking for treasures, because your reality is full of nuggets of grace that are just waiting for your consent to become your new normal. The game is over because you have realized that every second is a gold coin minted with the effigy of your future triumph. Your confidence is now nourished by these silent proofs, and this serenity that dwells in you is the sign that you have finally understood that everything, absolutely everything, is working for your glory. The total absence of movement around you is an indicator of a pressure that has reached its peak, and the sentinels are sending you an imminent tipping alert today. This emptiness that you feel is not a breakdown. It is the suction of air that precedes a tsunami of changes. We warn you that God's silence becomes proportional to the magnitude of the explosion of light that He is about to unleash in your daily life. We warn you. To be alarmed by this flat calm would be the fatal mistake of the sailor who ignores that the ocean always retreats before returning with a devastating force for his enemies. We inform you that this calm before the breakthrough is the moment when the Creator holds His breath to make sure that you are perfectly centered before the impact of your success. The sentinels are shouting at you that if nothing moves anymore, it is because the last pieces of the dam are cracking under the weight of a grace that you will no longer be able to contain. This phase of temporal suspension is the ultimate test of your spiritual maturity. The angels show you that the one who panics in silence betrays his lack of preparation for the coming storm of glory. We are alerting you to the fact that we have tried to make you believe that your story ends there, in this silent desert, when it is precisely here that your true reign begins. The sentinels cry out to you that your ability not to force fate in these moments of emptiness is your greatest victory over your ego. We encourage you to listen to this silence with the fervor of a lookout who knows that dawn is mathematically inevitable. You have understood that the universe does not make a noise when it is about to accomplish the impossible. It simply accumulates the electric charge until the air itself becomes unbreathable for mediocrity. The stake of this inhabited expectation is the reception of your inheritance in a royal peace. We inform you that the current silence is the red carpet that heaven is rolling out so that your word, when it sounds again, will be listened to as a sovereign decree. The sentinels alert you to the nobility of your endurance. Staying calm when external signs disappear is the mark of Providence's chosen ones. We ask you to stop trying to break this tranquility with desperate actions, because the wave has already formed and it is rushing towards you with surgical precision. The game is over because you realize that silence is not a wall, but a door that opens ajar. Your breakthrough is there. It pulsates in the invisible, and this thrill that you feel in your soul is the sign that the dam has just given way. The veil is finally tearing to give way to the evidence of your triumph, and the sentinels are sending you today an alert of total materialization. What was only a wavering faith and silent prayers is now embodied in the marble of your social, financial, and spiritual success. We warn you that the world, which laughed at your silence, is now struck dumb by the solidity of what you have built without making a sound. We warn you, your rise to power is not an accident, of course, but the logical outcome of a divine engineering that has finished testing your foundations. You are informed that this manifestation of the invisible is your public coronation. You no longer need to explain your path, because your results speak with an authority that no one can ignore anymore. The sentinels cry out to you that you have passed from the status of the forgotten to that of the inescapable, proving that whoever lets God work in the shadows always ends up inheriting the full light. This phase of triumphal exposure is the end of your protective anonymity. The angels show you that your victory is now a physical law in your environment. It imposes itself, without effort on your part. We are alerting you to the fact that we have tried to minimize your impact, while you have become the pillar on which many will now rely in order not to sink. The Sentinels cry out to you that your patience has produced a fruit whose flavor is incorruptible, because it has ripened far from envious eyes. We encourage you to occupy your new place with the dignity of one who has gained every inch of his territory in the Forge of Silence. You have understood that the miracle is not a coincidence, but the visible harvest of an invisible seed that you have protected at the risk of your doubts. The challenge of this revelation is the definitive validation of your alliance with the Creator. We inform you that your story is becoming a survival manual for all those who are still crossing their own desert of silence. The Sentinels alert you to the nobility of your radiance. Being the living sign that the invisible is more real than the visible is your greatest mission. We ask you never to minimize your power again, because it is the seal of a promise kept beyond appearances. The fight is over because reality has finally aligned with your vision. You are there, standing in the clarity, and this peace that crowns your forehead is the sign that you have finally understood how God was acting, second after second, to make you the monument of grace that you have become.